We need to return to Minas Morgul.
And see what the Witch King has wrought.
Alright, this is the beginning of the end. Now we have one last quest line to do before we start the proper ending of the game. Now we're gonna learn the history of a couple, unfortunately not all of them, but a couple of the Nazgul. Because, like I said, this is where the differences between the source material and this continuity start to arise a bit more.
Now, Minas Morgul.
I tracked the ringwraith here after we drove him from Shelob's cave.
Came to lick his wounds.
All we did was chase him off. Be on your guard.
Okay then.
What she said.
Your ability to track the Nazgul.
Town sure seems haunted.
A gift. That is one way to put it.
We are here for the Palantir. That is all that matters.
And we will have to fight our way to it. The city is crawling with orcs.
Nothing to see here, gents.
We can turn them into valuable assets.
See, it's perfect stealth if there are no witnesses left alive.
Exactly. You don't need to worry about Elthariel, she can easily take care of herself. So
I love how
this is not one of those escort missions where you have to worry about your protege.
I love how she was showing off just doing a backhanded arrow strike without even looking behind herself.
It's kind of similar to Talion has a similar move. It's the equivalent of throwing the daggers. I just don't show it Talion using it that much because I don't really need it. Time being, we just need to reach the follow Elthariel and reach the entrance to what was Minas Ithil's courtyard. The only thing that's that's barring your way are a couple of orcs, but these are, as you can see, these are very easy to dispatch out or to convert. In fact, one of your optional objectives is to actually dominate 15 of them.
Night. Like for an achievement or for
extra experience. Yeah, like I said, the extra objectives when it comes to the main missions are for extra experience points. It's only in the past missions that are mandatory if you want to get a gold rating. Unfortunately, I don't have the perk equipped that allows me to insta-kills with a perfect counter, but alas, I can still, easily handle it. And I would like to remind you, I'm playing on normal mode, so as you can see, the game is not even too much difficult in these kind of stages. It only becomes when you're actively trying to go potentially in the deeper parts of the Nemesis system, Needless to say, this is one of those games that I personally would not recommend to play on easy, because at that point, to quote a very bad game journalist, it makes the game too easy, ironically enough. I think normal is just fine enough even for newcomers or those who are not used to the game. The game provides you enough tools for you to just have fun with minimal kind of danger.
So in terms of too easy, is it like enemies die too quickly?
Yes,
boss fights
enemies die way too quickly, and as a result, you don't really have too much of an enjoyment of the Nemesis system, I argue, because as a result, you barely get to potentially have a captain, survive long enough to become a menace, or even potentially being able to kill you. Again, part of the entire reason of the game working is that, dying is not... The challenge in dying is not so much, losing a life or continues or points or souls like in the Dark Souls games, but instead it's potentially sometimes necessary to advance the Nemesis system. Arguably, if you're stuck on easy mode, as the game itself tells you, in the instruction of each mode, there's a good chance you might not enjoy the Nemesis system, in its fullest. They do mention that hard mode is the recommended one to enjoy the Nemesis system in the fullest, but I do personally argue normal is already enough of balance for those who seek less of a challenge,
But Teo, it was a life.
Of course.
Seriously, what does it... Sorry, go ahead.
Nazgul come out and play, I guess.
Yeah.
Go on, Pedro.
On a more serious note regarding that line from that movie, like, what does that even mean? I've always wondered, like,
Alright,
it was alive.
If I remember correctly, the context is after someone potentially... I forgot if it was an important character that died or committed a sacrifice.
It's
and
one
the
of the warriors
protagonist is
of
basically...
virtue.
Yeah, and the protagonist is kind of brushing off.
Oh, that I get too, but it's just the phrasing. Who even says that? Like, in that specific phrasing, it was alive. Like, no shit, it was alive. Like, I understand that concept.
It's a, it's a synonymous phrase of say show some respect.
Destroy the Nazguls.
I guess, it's just that the phrasing is just like... It also doesn't help that the line is so sudden. Like,
I'll need to resee the movie at some point just to remember more clearly, but, not too
You
much in a
know,
hurry.
It feels weird that between Warriors of Virtue and Tank Girl, we had two 90s flicks that were about mutant kangaroo people being important parts of it. Like,
There you go.
Has taken possession of this city. No, he will take possession of you.
Whoa,
at least take me out to
Witch
dinner
King-
first.
The Witch King needs to ask me out first, Jesus.
And
Yeah, I know.
This Nazgul is called Suladan. As we will see later, because again, when fighting these particular Nazguls, we will learn their backstories, more properly. This was one of the kings of the Eastern Kings of Man. And we already start to have a small of a problem here when it comes to adapting the soul material. The book clearly states that the Nazguls are the original 9 kings of men that were alive by the time Sauron created the Rings of Power. No strings attached, anything. This game poses the initial, not necessarily a retcon, but applies an alternate continuity, changing the idea that if you're able to actually banish away a Nazgul, get the ring and put it on yourself, you will become that Nazgul eventually. Meaning that the identities of the knight have been scrambled a bit. The Witch King is still the same, so don't worry about him.
That is a very specific methodology to become a Nazgul. Okay, if I recall correctly, didn't we not technically see all the Nazgul in the original trilogy?
We did not, but like I said, the book specifies, clearly their identity just in a generic way. I say this to clear that because already Suladan, while an original character, is implied that he's a more recent king who became that. And later on we will see a couple of Nazguls that, are like second generation, quote unquote, because they got their rings from someone else.
While this definitely clashes with the book stuff, I'd say this technically works with the movie timeline.
It works as an alternate continuity. It's just not, from the equal to the book. So we see Celebrimbor working with Sauron, creating the Rings of Power again.
Can we make a backup ring of power in case I lose mine?
And if you remember, this was the guy that showed up during the night, Sauron was consorting with Shelob.
Oh
the
my.
irony.
Everyone was there that romantic night.
So Sauron decided to confront him, but did the same trick, if I recall correctly, from that he used in the Second Age. Instead, he feigned, submission, decided to, being accepted as a prisoner, and like an idiot, Suladan accepted with a generous offer of a ring.
Yep, that's right.
Sauron was literally, hey king, you dropped this.
Yes, that's right, King. Sauron, the absolute big bad, is just gonna come out of his doors and offer you his ring. No strings attached.
Okay, I believe you.
No rings attached, you mean?
Literally.
Yeah. Literally whispering in his ear.
Until it basically the same thing that happened to Théoden eventually. Sauron did the mind trick of that made him too old.
And corrupted.
Sephiroth?
He does look a bit like Sephiroth in
that's
that
Sauron's Maiar form, which is more similar to a traditional elf, but you have to remember, he's not an elf, he's more of a superior being than that.
Superior being? What a species name.
Consider him a demigod, like he said.
That's like the most egomaniac way to name your species. What are we? We're the superior beings. That's
Of course.
Well, I mean, the intro to the original, to the Fellowship of the Ring movie has the elf literally call her own species the fairest and most wisest of all beings.
Yeah, elves are typically full of themselves.
At the very least, they don't claim to be like master race or something like that.
I realized that too late. But now, I have crossed.
Sure, Celebrimbor, keep repeating yourself to that like you're trying to convince yourself.
My God, Celebrimbor,
Yeah, pure bullshit.
My
all
ring
right?
is pure, I swear on me mom.
I promise.
Oh, was
Cross
that the
my
same
heart
promise?
to die. Oh wait, I'm already dead.
Oh, Celebrimbor, was that the same promise you made to your wife and kid that everything would be alright? Oh, wait.
I do wonder if he even remembers them.
Wow, that would be just the icing on the cruel cake if he has legit forgotten about his family at this point.
Unfortunately, we're still way, way below the league of Witch King, so we cannot retake Minas Morgul now.
So basically, beat up Nazgul and you can become as powerful as them.
Again, it depends if you want to take the ring. Now we're gonna, learn the backstory of another one.
So, you know what would have been a cool idea was if, each kingdom once had a king who was corrupted and then that Nazgul, patrols their past kingdom.
Well, it's not like that. There is some similarities to that. Remember, the Witch King had a kingdom of his own in Angmar, in the northern territories.
His name is Helm Hammerhand.
Yes, this is the guy who built Helm's Deep.
Really?
A king of Rohan. Problem, timeline-wise, like he said, he wouldn't be possible because this guy lived way after the Second Age. But the game will actually showcase how he became a Nazgul.
I'll admit, it is actually an interesting idea for there to be different eras of Nazgul.
It feels a bit fanficky, Evo. And this guy specializes in controlling beasts. So we have to have a different kind of siege. You forgot that this is the overall that I pointed in Saragost. But it's up to us to defeat Helm Hammerhand.
What a name. Like, I gotta wonder, do the Nazgul take on different names when they become Nazgul, or were those their names when they were alive?
No, they were names, well, it's very simple, they have the same names that they had, but their personality is almost completely shattered. They become these wraith figures who are dedicated entirely into, worshipping Sauron. The only one who stands out is the Witch King because he has to act as a sort of a leader for them. Oh, fuck.
Of course.
Drake.
Oh, he can summon a Drake just like that.
Like I said, this guy loves to control beasts. I guess it's not in order to reflect the fact that Rohan is a more savage kind of land, where men, have to live among beasts more, more directly compared to Gondor. Oh shit, even a Graug.
Wow, he ain't playing around.
Thankfully, you don't have to, go against waves, but you need to watch out because if you still die, okay, the fortress will not be lost, but you need to restart the mission from the beginning. And again, each Nazgul, particularly these ones that are named, in order to be more effective boss fights, as you can see, they have a bit more health than normal.
A Nazgul wielding a literal hammer.
Yeah.
That's,
Gotta need to stay on brand, Jova.
King Helm Hammerhand, like, what were his parents thinking when they named him that? Is Hammerhand his family name?
Yes. Well, no, more like a nickname. Remember, when it comes to the mythology of Middle-earth, last names are a thing, but a lot of times characters, gain nicknames, depending on the kind of feats that they actually accomplish. For example, remember, at the end of Return of the King, Sam manages to essentially earn the title of Sam Wise the Brave. So there is that. Ow.
He will need someone to replace
There we go.
I'll give Talion this, he's still good with the counter roasts. Oh, thank you.
Elthariel to the rescue. I haven't showcased much of this mechanic, admittedly, but
His wounds will slow him.
you will see it later. Once you're in the, status that you're about to be killed by someone, there is a potential chance that, an orc that is your ally, like a bodyguard, might come to your rescue and literally saves you free of charge, like that. It's a very rare feat. There is something even more attached to this mechanic, but I have to discuss it during, believe it or not, during the credits of the game, because it's an event that I could not manage to trigger properly in game.
Is it an incredibly specific one?
Yes, and it's a bit of a long story. For the time being, we need to discover the backstory of Helm.
If Nazgul is injured, we have the advantage.
Hammerhand was known for his strength in life. If anything, he has grown more powerful in death.
Of course.
What was the quote from Obi-Wan? That I will become more powerful when I was alive or something.
You cannot strike. Sorry, if you cannot kill me, Darth. If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
There you go.
Nearby. Can you keep up?
Suddenly competitive.
There's a weird, there's a weird tension between these two, but I can assure you, the game is not shipping them in the slightest.
I know, it was weird. That feels like it came out of nowhere. Also, did Talion change his outfit for this area?
Remember, for these specific cutscenes, which are not technically pre-rendered, but they need to move in a certain way, that outfit is the default one that Talion has, which is implied to be the same from Shadow of Mordor, even though it's not the same, because, like I said, the clothing is different, and the coloring is different. Instead of being red, it was supposed to be, green. Green and brown.
That's right, I forgot you can customize his outfit in this game, technically.
Like I said, it's not, the cosmetic appearance-wise is strictly attached to stats, so your kind of fashion souls equivalent is not exactly, the more of the but. The good news is that, like I said, if you manage to power up the specific sets, like the Bright Lord sets, those will be more, decent looking, because you're supposed to actually work in tandem, if you equip all of them.
So the outfit we're wearing now, is that your particular favorite looking outfit, or is that just the one with the best stats?
It's just the one that has the best, stats and perks. For the time being, we need to defeat the Drake. The trick is that as we're trying to launch a fireball, if you shoot an arrow in their mouth, they will instantly, get on the ground, where they can be an easy prey. Shank. Yeah, noted.
You don't say.
We could turn the weapon of the enemy against him.
Okay, Celebrimbor, that's your solution to everything. Like,
I know, right?
This is the guy who spams. This is the guy who plays Age of Empires and spams Monk just because he likes to hear the Wololo sound effect.
It's like Dwebs' interpretation of Batu wanting to blow up everything.
Okay.
More Drakes.
More fodder.
When it comes to, well, since I didn't mention it, when it comes to upgrading the equipment, there are two ways. If the equipment is generic but is ranked epic, it will have very specific ways to, to be upgraded. For example, defeat a captain with like a stealth maneuver, or poison a barrel of grog and make sure that the captain actually drink it. If you manage to do that, the equipment will actually gain an additional perk, which will most of the time will be very, very useful. When it comes to the legendary equipment, which are the one part of the sets, it's all tied about the main gimmick gameplay of the game, namely recruiting and killing. Specifically, recruiting orcs of a certain level, like say 20, 40 or something, that are part of a specific tribe. If you manage to do that, that equipment will be upgraded automatically. So it's you cannot not something you can do normally, because remember, you need to level up Talion on his own before you're able to recruit orcs of a specific level. So it's designed to not be exploited too early, but still be able to, be upgraded as the game progresses. By the time you reach endgame, roughly around this time, Talion should be, of a level high enough in order to actually, upgrade it properly and gain the full benefits of that. And those usually tend to have, the best kind of perks. Again, you can get some weird combinations in terms of, stats and the perks that you can get. The trade-off being that you run the risk of Talion running around like a complete idiot, like in this case.
Looks funny out of context.
Okay, I'm a bit facetious. It's not the worst outfit that I've seen, especially, for a game like this, but it could be better. I promise you that later on you will see a better example.
Oh, I get what you mean. Like, honestly, if anything, I prefer his default outfit. I wonder, does he change outfits based off of the environments too, default-wise?
And I can tell you that we don't get really dynamic effect, like, say, the snow attaches to the cape or something. Like I said, for the game mix that the gameplay tends to have, I can perfectly understand. This is not a game where I really want that kind of, graphical fidelity, if that has to sacrifice the gameplay.
I'll admit, I am a bit surprised, since this is an 8th gen game, right?
Yes, specifically made for PS4, Xbox One, and that gen PC.
So I'm kind of surprised that the cutscenes, aren't all in real time, essentially.
There are
so
a few pre-rendered. If you notice that there was one at the beginning, there will be at least one at the end. And a few of them are not pre-rendered, but do assume that Talion has the default outfit instead of, the customized one. While instead others, like everything involved in the Nemesis system, completely is dependent on what you wear at that moment.
Uh-huh.
This fight against Hammerhand is a bit tricky because, as you can see, he's surrounded by a bunch of drakes himself. So you need to try to, take care of them. But the problem is that, if you're tied to one thing, another will try to pounce on you. So you need to balance. And unfortunately, Elthariel can only do so much. Ow.
Sure, it'd be nice if we could bring more help with us for this mission.
To be fair, I could have invested in a bodyguard and summon it, but I didn't thought about it, so it is my bad, admittedly.
An orc bodyguard, or...?
An orc bodyguard, yes.
I was wondering if, like, those bodyguards from the other DLC might cross over into this as a result of you buying it.
No, unfortunately. Like I said, we never really know what happened to Baranor and the others. Like, it's nice that we got to see something that happened to them, but, a conclusion certainly would have also helped. Otherwise, we're just left with the idea of either they got away, Iluvatar knows where, but, or they actually perished. Because remember, this is still set 60 years before the War of the Ring. So, I can easily believe Baranor died before the events of that happened.
I honestly feel like we should have had, like, at the very least, the trio of Talion, the Self Girl, and Baranor. Or hell, maybe even a quadri if we throw in,
Idril.
I was gonna say, actually, the dwarf guy.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I guess that works too. Like, okay. That is honestly, I feel, one of the biggest missed possibilities of these games is, like, you have all these interesting characters, but a lot of them are kind of touch and go.
They do suffer a bit, in order to try to copy a bit from the Batman Arkham games, they do suffer from the whole, I must work alone kind of syndrome.
Yeah, that was always one of the weaker things of the Arkham games.
The clone that I think has worked the best with them is logically enough, the Mad Max video game, because not only is his nature to always be alone, but because of the fucked up stuff that happens to him and the people around him, it's kind of logical that he would always not have too much of a company around.
Yeah, like, even when people get happy endings, I can get how
Sure,
you might feel
remember,
that he's
I know that,
cursed.
what's it called, Beyond Thunderdome had the whole Peter, Lost Boys equivalent, but it was more the exception than the rule.
Like, even
Alright.
still, he left at the... Well, okay, not so much he left, but he stayed behind to let them escape. Wow.
Let's check his backstory. Much like Elthariel, Helmammerend loved to hunt and have a good wife.
When I asked.
That would be a shame if
Shit.
something happened to all that.
Like like a bunch of Dunlandians.
Wow. What a way to go.
Interesting transition. And
buddy. You seem to be
Celebrimbor
dying.
and Celebrimbor and Sauron showed up thinking it was a perfect opportunity.
For your daughter's safe return.
Hey, buddy, you seem to be dying. Here, take this ring. It'll solve all your problems.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Helm was just a tad pissed.
Oh, boy.
Please, don't fight him.
What?
If you kill me, you'll start a war. War has come!
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
pretty
didn't-
sure he doesn't
I
care.
mean,
And he
didn't you kill
unfortunately
him in
killed
the
also
first
his
place?
daughter. And unlike Kratos, sure, he was there to actually understand what he did for a split second, let's just say that.
So if I understand
It
correctly,
was
his
too
daughter...
late.
So his daughter was getting with the guy who killed him?
There's the ambiguity of, if she actually loved, the guy, or was it a case of Stockholm Syndrome, potentially. We don't really know, but the game leaves that layer of ambiguity in case. The important bit that you need to know is that Helm was consumed too much by rage.
Even killed his own men, too.
Again, consumed by the bloodlust for fighting.
He beat the guy's head in with his own helmet. That is... Wow.
You got that out of your system? And that's how he became a Nazgul. Understandably, Talion is not gonna take this well.
How could you? You stood beside Sauron as he gave these kings the very rings that doomed them!
Those rings were meant to bring order.
Well, that was a bit of a
Knowing what
doofus
you know
move.
now, still, you crafted a new ring.
But this one is pure and special.
Why else did you pick up?
Are you sure about that?
To be fair, Celebrimbor has a point. Remember, this was Talion's idea at the end of the first game.
This army that all Sauron has wrought will be undone.
No matter the cost.
Yeah. Awkward.
A Drake would have been a great asset.
Read the room, my dude. Read the room.
Remember what Celebrimbor had to say. Remember what Talion had to say to Celebrimbor in Shadow's Lair. How much of your soul did you pour into that ring?
The very interesting.
And even then, like you said, even the first game had that layer of ambiguity of is Celebrimbor actually kind of an asshole or not?
Honestly, half of me would almost be expecting Celebrimbor to be the final boss if he wasn't literally bonded to us.
The smell of death is near.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've seen elves be assholes, but Celebrimbor takes it to a new
Celebrimbor is an
level.
extremist. But again, all in due time. For now, we need to discover the identity of the last major Nazgul we will learn something about, and it's a doozy.
Ah, I
Like
see.
you
So
said,
they're
this is if those previous ones weren't already enough of an indication about a retcon. Trust me, this is basically as the subtlety of a brick in your face.
I do like the escalation with each of these Nazgul backstories that, they go from being, benevolent or well-meaning to vengeful to, oh my god, maybe this guy was an insane maniac from the get-go.
Classic tragedy stories.
Just one.
Superhero
Hold
landing.
on. Yep, this is Isildur. This cannot really work on so many levels, but apparently does. We will learn exactly how he became a Nazgul later, and trust me, oh man, and that's his gimmick. He can summon wraiths of deceased Gondorian soldiers.
But he was killed.
This man died at Minas Ithil.
No. You see, that was his body
By
double
arrows
that
in the
was
back.
killed. No. You see, that was his body double that was killed, actually.
Also, that's the thing, Dweebs, remember, the Nazguls are essentially undead people to begin with, so
True,
it doesn't
yeah.
really matter if the host body was dead to begin with or not.
I thought that said defeat the rights for a second there. I was like, damn, Phoenix took being disbarred horribly.
Against their brothers.
So yeah, the gimmick of this fight, I believe it's actually very strange. You're supposed to avoid the detection as your side objective, so it's kind of have to be treated like a stealth mission. But you can just go on and plow through each of them, because when it comes to combat abilities, these wraiths are kind of suck, you know, as foot soldiers.
Return to your rest.
Like I said, don't count too much on Elthariel. She will not be too helpful in this, but only when you have to actually fight Isildur himself. Yoink.
Oop, got your nose.
The good thing about this is that, you know, you can just there you go, you can use the possession kind of move to instantly dispatch them. So they're actually more, you know, manageable than most orcs.
Oh, well, that guy's just walking around like he's a normal dude.
Again, at this point, I know enough of the environment, you know, the terrain, and the AI enemy behavior to know exactly how to handle this kind of situation for the most part. There you go. Only 2 remaining. Sorry, Isildur, I'll be here in a second. Don't worry.
So does he just walk around while we stealth kill these guys?
He basically does the Terminator thing of, oh, I can totally kill you, but I will get here very slowly because you cannot stop me.
Well, in the case of the Terminators, it's just because they generally just walk slow.
Except for the T-1000. And the TX.
Okay, the TX is definitely cool run, I remember that, but I forgot if the T-1000
It also is important to remember.
It
also is important to remember.
T-1000 literally has a bit where he's chasing John on his motorbike by foot.
It also is important to remember what Kyle Reese says in the first movie. They're not very smart. John taught us how to do it, so they're meant to kind of do things not in the smartest way to begin with.
As we know also from different materials, like the Terminator Salvation video games, the T-800 were like the second mass production.
Submit to the Witch King, and at our side you will serve. Or you will die, and I will raise you as my puppet. You have a choice before you.
Is
No
the
pressure.
puppet is the literal puppet talking about us being a puppet?
Different layers, Jova.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the idea behind this, that the T-800 were like second mass-produced models, so I get the idea why they would not be super perfect, especially because they had to be mass-produced. That's one of the weird mistakes that a lot of people, including the makers of the movies, later movies, tend to do in regards to Terminator. The idea that by the time John Connor allows humanity to win, there's only a very handful, you know, a small amount of humans of resistance resisting, when in reality, no, because if they managed to took, you know, Skynet and their armies, and they were, you know, a consistent enough kind of, you know, force that they could win. So they were not literally a bunch, like a dozen of people, like all of the movies try to pretend. And that was just in a part of the world, not in its entirety. But no, a lot of other materials try to pretend that they were like this very small guerrilla group and no one else.
I guess if I can give Salvation 1 credit, it didn't do that. Like, it actually realized, no, these people actually need to be an army for them to have a shot.
I still had to wonder who actually had the common sense of idea to actually try to not have the... hold on. So, anyone want to get a taco?
Well, I'm glad he's out there and we're in here.
Where's the caveman? No, you're not Darth Maul, sorry.
So basically, I know I can't get in there, but you're stupid. You'll still lose eventually.
My sword is better infinity times 1.
Is it gonna end up like that? That reminds me. Someone, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was
hold on, sorry, give me a second. And among the Wraiths is also Castamir, the regent of Minas Ithil. Oh, the irony.
How poetic.
Go on, Dweebs.
Someone made an edit of that bit where as soon as those shields went away in Phantom Menace and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul started fighting, Obi-Wan tried to use force speed to get there faster, but he ended up falling into the pit.
Also, I still do wonder who had the common sense in the team making Terminator Salvation that actually told the makers to not use the ending where John Connor dies and the Terminator actually take his place, because really that would have been very insulting.
Well, I have to give them credit that they had the common sense to not kill John Connor off.
That's what I mean. I wonder who the development team actually decided that, and said, no, don't do that.
Yeah, like, in concept, I don't have an issue with John Connor dying. It's just every time they've done that, they've gone about it completely the wrong way. Like, it's not even it was set in the future or something, or if he did something where he had to sacrifice himself or anything like that.
Like you said, Bo Dweebs, my biggest problem with a lot of it, with basically the Terminator sequels past 2, basically, is that they give the idea that ultimately it reinforces the idea that it's a story about the machine winning, because they keep succeeding with each movie.
Yeah.
Well, technically the machines...
Just like in real life.
Technically the machines technically lose each time because, as long as John Connor's alive,
but they do manage to change the events in their favor. They manage to get Judgment Day happening despite everything. One of the concept endings, like I said, of Salvation was to kill John Connor and replace him. Sure, still losing, but eventually managing to modify the events. Genesis managed to effectively alter the timeline significantly with the idea that maybe Skynet can still win, and Dark Fate, God. Let's say better, especially because we're in the endgame territory now. Even the game tells you there's no turning back. Let's pack up our things and try to march against Barad-dûr. We will think about Minas Morgul later, don't worry.
Alright then.
Yoink.
The Bright Lord.
You will use the set of captains specifically from Gorgoroth for this mission, so they are on high level to begin with. And it begins the third act, Shadow and Flame. Like I said, Act 1, Prologue, Act 1 and Act 3 are the smallest, while Act 2 composes the big chunk of the game.
That a big enough tower for you?
That's Barad-dûr for you.
Wow, this is really going to be it.
So basically, our showdown is to actually crossing this bridge and facing these army of orc that are right to us.
Awaits. We bring this water.
That said, this is a flipping Nazgul we're going up against, and I guess he's probably the biggest, baddest of them in the game.
The Witch King is too busy handling Minas Morgul, so...
But it is still not ours! Sauron's army advances, ready to butcher every last one of us! But we will not die under his rule. We do not serve the Dark Lord!
You will die under mine. Oh, wait.
On the battlefield and take this land for our own! You fight for Mordor! You fight for the Bright Lord!
How much is that is Celebrimbor speaking, I wonder?
Mostly him. You can still hear Troy Baker, but you can tell that he's Alistair Duncan mostly prevailing.
Which makes me wonder, we haven't seen it too much, but is it possible that Celebrimbor could actually puppet Talion's body if he wanted to?
Not really. Their relationship is more of a symbiotic one. But as you can see, if you saw from the beginning, there are beings that can potentially forcefully separate the two.
I was just wondering if, like, maybe an arc might be that Celebrimbor is influencing Talion's actions to the point where it's actually Celebrimbor
don't worry.
in the
You will see soon enough what's the extent of that. Just to mention, all the orcs that you're gonna face, the captains that you're gonna face on this bridge, are completely randomly generated by the Nemesis system. So you also have that bit of fun of having, you know, a bit of unpredictability.
And you potentially get an old enemy of yours show up.
I haven't encountered that, but I think it might be possible. Remember,
that would actually be
the
pretty
climax
nice
of the climax of the first game pitted you against your nemesis, so yeah.
Oh, but this game doesn't. Well, at least not intentionally.
No, it might, but to be fair, since I've been, you know, very diligent, I made sure that right now I don't have any recurring, you know, personal nemesis captain.
Ah. And hey, might as well add to our numbers while we're at it.
Much like in Sieges, you know, the best way to you know, tip the fight in your favor, recruit the competition.
Yeah, it'd be funny if you could end up recruiting Sauron.
That would be something.
No, well, remember, our mission is to destroy him, not really recruiting, thankfully.
That would be some high-grade irony, though. The great Sauron made into a puppet himself.
The ultimate puppet, which will be kinda ambitious because, again, Celebrimbor is just a second-age elf, still very powerful, but not as much. Sauron is literally on a different level as a Maiar, so...
Although, if I recall correctly, wasn't Sauron kind of a bit of a lowly thug himself who worked his way up to
for
power?
Morgoth originally, but you have to remember the hierarchy. Morgoth was a god, and I don't mean capital G because Eru Ilúvatar is on top of them, but Morgoth was like Lucifer, you know.
Facing down with you so many
Maul of the
times,
spiders.
but I'm
Another guy
afraid
covered in
the
cobwebs.
final battle is upon us. I'm going to have to make this one hurt more than all the others combined.
You've got issues, dude.
No shit. Anyway, you know, Morgoth was, like I said, the equivalent of basically Satan. But still very powerful, equally like an archangel. Sauron, on the other hand, will be, again, more of a demigod, still very powerful in his own right, but not as powerful. Like the missing link between, you know, the proper bigger gods and the elven race. So that's why he has an advantage over most of the free race, and why, like I said, it is so important that the ring has to be destroyed before he can resurrect properly. Because by the time of the Third Age, you know, the races of Middle-earth are not in a, you know, decent enough state to face him like the people did in the Second Age. So it is that's why the mission to destroy the ring has to be done in secrecy, because it is very vital and effective to cut the enemy forces at the root.
I'm ready to spill some guts.
All right, next wave.
Alright, who else wants some?
Hey, what are you doing? You're on our side.
Always a pleasure
You.
to meet
About
you
that.
on the battlefield, my sweet.
Apologies if you have
After all
trypophobia.
we've been through, I'm almost sorry this is to be the last time.
Oh, what's going on with the camera there? Or was he
They
just
were loving
jittering
to
like
shake,
that?
I don't know what to tell you. I think it's also because one of these
Maybe
captains
the
has
cameraman is
one of those
phobia.
explosive crossbow balls, so I need to actually... I was just hit just before that, so I needed to be careful. Like I said, you can see from the levels, these orc captains are relatively simple to handle, especially if you're being diligent, you know, and work your way through both the Nemesis system and your own personal level. Use that.
Tell me who needs gutting.
Alright.
That guy over there. What is it with you and gutting, my dude?
That's his gimmick.
You needed a gutter.
Literally mobbing that guy.
I'm trying to recruit these people. Come on, leave me some space. Ow.
Come on. You get all sorts of perks joining my army.
Like I said, the pension plan is great.
Indeed. For one, you actually get to live longer than the usual orc.
That's already an incentive.
Yeah, and then when you die, you get all your hard-earned savings will go to your mate.
Thank you, Master. I fight for you.
Unfortunately, I think the other guy died, alas. I think only the Nazguls should remain. Alright, I also, recruited Bruce, decided to have Bruce here, just for old time's sake.
Your time has come, Talion. All that you have wrought has led you here. We are bound together in this struggle. This is the fate of kings and men.
Don't act like you know me, creep.
Alright. Isildur is relatively easy to handle. If I recall correctly, your orcs cannot intervene, so it's just you and Elthariel against him.
As you're in
The zone.
yes.
If you also noticed, in previous fights, Elthariel occasionally would deploy part of her, light shield. If she does that, you're absolutely required to actually get, inside that, because that means the Nazgul is about to perform a special attack that can otherwise deal you a lot of damage. Also, yes, Isildur has his own spammy teleport move, like he's from the Super Nintendo Star Wars games. Ow. Yeah, sorry, I don't have time for saving my captains.
Your journey has ended, Elthariel. It is done.
I'm the Bright Lord.
Semantics. Actually, I do have time for healing him. Well, not really.
Entire army? If this is his entire army, maybe it's easier than we thought.
Okay, to be fair, there you go. We got a bunch of other orcs. There you go. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Unfortunately, I'm also lacking a bit of health, so I need to work. Oh, great! He can also do the necromancy trick and just revive the fallen.
Well, that ain't good for us.
I think it's around this point where my orc captains can also intervene in the fight. There you go.
Off of his head. I'm sure you will, buddy.
Perhaps if Isildur is actually the Nazgul who could not cross the pier.
River.
Yeah, not the river of Rivendell, but the scene at the pier where Frodo is to jump on the boat.
Okay, I'll admit.
It's connected to old folklore where the undead cannot cannot actually sustain what is considered running water, which can mean potentially rain or even like a river or a lake. It's usually if you know the myth of Sleepy Hollow, Jova, it's kind of the same thing about the headless ornaments not being able to cross the bridge.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say this. all potential manner of weird canonicity or not, the idea of Isildur, the king that actually did slay Sauron, becoming a Nazgul, does have good story potential.
It also serves mostly for narrative purposes because, again, just you wait to see how the fight ends. We're not done. Actually, we're about to see. First, his backstory. Oh boy, again, if you saw the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, you should get an idea what happened.
Isildur!
Actually, later glimpse. Isildur got, there you go, Narsil, the sword of his father, and in an act of impulsivity, managed to actually succeed.
And since Sauron put way too much of his essence into the ring, that killed him.
And unfortunately, we skipped the scene with Elrond, the elves and Isildur, unfortunately, but...
Some random orcs will fire arrows into your back and kill you.
I am the Lord of the Ring.
Hey, that's the title of the series!
Hey.
Oh my god, someone actually did that.
Yes.
Oh.
And now we get to see when he died via the orc ambush and the thing slipped off his finger.
Whoopsie!
Flush. As we know, the ring will actually get lost for a couple of hundred years until Smeagol will find him, but as for Isildur, this is where the canon diverge. Sauron specifically requested the body of Isildur to be brought back to Barad-dûr.
I could definitely see Sauron holding that much of a petty grudge.
So I could teabag him and embarrass his corpse.
You will serve me for all eternity.
But I'm dead.
And now here's what happens. Talion manages to actually sever the control, and Celebrimbor wants to dominate Isildur. There you go, severing the connection with the ring. But this is where Talion actually doesn't like crossing this line.
I cannot allow this. Isildur, I release you! No!
And I can kinda understand, but they're about to explain.
So he finally managed to kill a Nazgul, for real.
Mm-hmm.
He was not yours to release. And he was not yours to enslave.
I did more than that.
Since Elthariel is a Nazgul huntress, this is actually a prospect that actually excites her.
I will dominate Sauron.
Excuse me.
His armies will be mine.
You know, out of context, people sound really horny in this game.
But, however, Celebrimbor is disappointed. As long as the One Ring has not been found, Sauron cannot be defeated.
Talion, we can end this here.
That was not possible.
Can we really?
Order is restored to light, not darkness.
Don't go too much. Have you all seen Shadowbringers?
I will not trade one Dark Lord for another. This is not the end I have fought for!
But you are not the only one fighting.
No, he is not. This is not about your petty vengeance. Or mine. This is about restoring order to Mordor. To all of Middle-earth. The end you fought for. You are but a vessel.
Fuck.
And there are others.
Oh, fuck.
Uh-oh. No.
I believe we have a breach of contract.
Elthariel sent you here for a reason.
But dude, wouldn't that be a little awkward?
Bring Sauron to his knees. We can finish what our people was started so long ago.
Let me inside of you. We can
Oh,
find.
she just need to take the ring. And like again, much like all the races of Middle-earth, Elthariel is not exactly above that. Remember, even the elves were tempted by the corruption.
Did she say my precious?
No, this is remember more pure kind of ring. Again, I like still the fact that the game bothers to showcase the fact that she's not doing this willy-nilly, and yeah, that means that Talion has to go.
Well, shoot! So Talion just dies. On the one hand, he finally gets the rest he wanted.
This is also Breach. Look at the personal Elthariel.
Sacrifices are not in vain.
Uh-huh.
This is the
How
only
many
way.
people who said
This is
how
the
many?
way.
How many people who put on the ring said that before things just got
And
worse?
even worse, Celebrimbor has nothing to say to Talion. After all they went through, he just departs like that. What a dick.
Bye.
So, how can Talion even get out of this one? Remember, we saw some of these scenes in a vision from Shelob, didn't we?
So
Specifically,
Spider-Man.
we saw something different. We saw Talion and Celebrimbor on top of Barad-dûr and Sauron offering one of their Nazgul rings to Talion. But it seems something has changed.
See the future you have wrought. A bright lord instead of a dark one.
You pitiful man. I gave you sight, and yet you still do not see.
Maybe if you spoke more. Well, okay, I guess to be fair, then Celebrimbor would have caught on to what she was hinting at.
Mm-hmm.
You showed me a fate I could not change.
You are wrong. When you and Celebrimbor forged a new ring of power, I saw where your path ended.
Also, Mike peeking.
Locked in battle against Sauron at the top of Barad-dûr.
I guess the afterlife is a bit.
Shelob saw,
Sauron was
yeah,
enslaved.
Shelob saw Celebrimbor enslaving Sauron and becoming the Bright Lord, and as a result, yeah.
He marched forth under his banner.
So Celebrimbor may actually be worse than Sauron. Good
At least
lord.
that's what Shelob saw. And that's the future that Shelob wanted to avoid.
The future you prevented.
Because she instilled in Talion the seed of doubt, which allowed this to happen.
So what's the future now then?
Well,
No.
Your war is not yet ended, Talion.
poor
Oh my
bastard
God.
has already fought enough.
Whether a bright
Was I actually right that Celebrimbor is the final boss?
The balance of power must be maintained, or all of Middle-earth will fall.
Please do this before I go
Well-
insane and try to kill two people
Yes, Lord.
trying to actually save Middle-earth.
The important stuff is, for example, also Nazguls, since Celebrimbor is not actually focusing on that. But how to get there?
How?
Yeah, Talion has nothing anymore.
We make another ring!
Well, think about it.
I asked you once. How much are you willing
We have a
to
way to get there, but the price might be a bit steep.
Can it get any worse than what we've already paid for?
Open your eyes, Talion.
Talion, you're about to die. Open your eyes.
Link, open your eyes.
I can't, so I'll super glue, but there you go.
So, this is like what? Your third major resurrection? This time by
Well,
Spider-Man?
he's not yet resurrected, but there's a ticket for that.
The Nazgul ring.
Isildur's ring.
Oh, don't tell me. It's gonna turn out he'll become a Nazgul, and then it turns out he's one of the Nazgul in the original trilogy.
As long is out of breath.
And the ring didn't fit.
That would be awkward.
Actually, yeah. What does a person do if a ring literally can't fit
To be
their finger?
fair, our fingers are structured so each of them has a different size. So if it doesn't fit on one finger, chances are it might fit onto another. But yeah, that's basically our setup for the climax. So while Elthariel and Celebrimbor will go to confront Sauron, Talion, now empowered by the Ring of Isildur, will actually go to try to free Minas Morgul. We will see how these, these things converge ultimately in the next part, which is not the final one, but it's basically kind of like our ending, and what happens after will be the epilogue. So see you for that.